focus on infrastructure. This is an absolute game changer, not just for Maryland, but for the entire region. And today's groundbreaking comes after 7 years of negotiations and effort by our administration, our transportation officials, and together with an innovative public-private partnership we negotiated between the state of Maryland, CSX, and the Federal Railroad Administration. Expanding the 126-year-old Howard Street Tunnel to allow for double-stacked container trains will clear a decades-long hurdle for the Port of Baltimore and break a major East Coast rail bottleneck. This is a continuation of our concerted efforts to make the Port of Baltimore even more competitive with other ports for the extremely sought-after containerized cargo market. Currently, the height within the tunnel prevents the moving of double-stacked rail containers to and from the port. With this new project, the existing Howard Street Tunnel will be reconstructed to allow for double stacking capabilities. This is expected to dramatically increase business at the Port of Baltimore by 160,000 containers annually. It will provide a more cost-effective way to transport more freight by rail rather than by trucks. It will reduce fuel consumption by 137 million gallons, and it will help reduce congestion and emissions all along the I-95 corridor. It's also an exponential job creator, which will generate more than 14,000 jobs, 6,500 construction jobs alone, and another 7,300 permanent jobs. This transformative project will also complement the expansion of the Secret Marine Terminal through the unique public-private partnership that the Maryland Port Administration has with Ports America Chesapeake. In April, we completed dredging operations to finalize our second 50-foot berth, and we're currently pursuing a third berth to accommodate even more of the largest ships in the world. And in September, we welcomed our 4 new supersized container cranes to provide even greater capacity, speed, and efficiency to handle our increases in container volumes. For years, the Howard Street Tunnel reconstruction project was cost prohibitive. It was originally estimated to cost more than $4 billion. But by utilizing the latest advances in construction technology, we are now able to accomplish it for $466 million, which is 88% less than the original projected cost. Equally as important, the double stacking that this project will allow and all of our other major infrastructure improvements will be a big part of the solution to some of America's supply chain challenges. Last week, I joined with 14 of my fellow governors in states across America, pledging to take joint action to allow cargo to move more efficiently, to expand coordination with private industry and neighboring states, and to support the ability of America's ports to operate at full capacity. We're proud that the Port of Baltimore has already been leading in response to this crisis by taking on more business as problems are clogging other American ports. With Maryland's rapidly growing number of fulfillment and distribution centers and our highly skilled workforce of longshoremen, Maryland will continue to be a major part of the solution to this national crisis. CNBC recently named Maryland as the single most improved state for business in America, largely based on our commitment to infrastructure and technology and innovation. In addition to today's major announcement on freight, we're also working to improve passenger rail service with a project to modernize and revitalize historic Penn Station, and working in partnership with Amtrak to finally replace the 148-year-old B&P tunnel with a new Frederick Douglass tunnel, which will fix the worst bottleneck between Washington, D.C. and New Jersey. For 7 years, our administration has been moving forward on the top priority infrastructure projects in every jurisdiction all across the state of Maryland. And now, the new bipartisan federal infrastructure bill, which we worked tirelessly to try to make happen over the past 2.5 years, will be a powerful force multiplier for our efforts here in Maryland. Today, as we kick off reconstruction of this Howard Street Tunnel project, we're proving once again that investing in infrastructure is critically important to our state and national economies and to the lives of everyday Marylanders and Americans. So once again, I just want to say congratulations and thank you to everyone who has been involved in making this project possible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next. Jim Foote is the Chief Executive Officer of CSX. He's a giant in the railroad industry with over 40 years of experience. Today does not happen without Jim Foote. Jim took the reins at CSX in December of 2017, when this project was all but dead. He revived it. He saw the benefits for CSX and for what it would be and what it would do for CSX's entire rail network, the nation's supply chain, and the Port of Baltimore. I am pleased that we have a solid public-private relationship, excellent working relationship with CSX. Please join me in welcoming Jim Foote, CEO of CSX.
Thank you, Bill. It's great to be here today. I'm not here to take any credit for this project. The history of this project is absolutely amazing. Governor Hogan, Senator Cardin, Administrator Bose, and Senate President Ferguson, what a great job. This project is great for the state of Maryland. This project is great for the city of Baltimore. This project is great for the customers that serve and call on the Port of Baltimore. And this project is great for CSX's customers, providing them with a new, modernized infrastructure and promoting the utilization of the most environmentally friendly form of land transportation available. Kind of checks all the boxes today of everything everybody's talking about. So I just want to congratulate everyone who's been involved in this from the beginning. I commend the Secretary Slater and his team at the DOT for continuing to push. I want to make a special thank you for a person from CSX, Rob Gerardo. It's been, many of you know him. It's been said, besides being a giant, I can sometimes be difficult to work for. I can guarantee you that Rob kept CSX on track to deliver what is going to be a great game changer for the Port of Baltimore. So it's my honor to be here, and thank you.
As you can see, the theme of the day is partnerships, federal, private, state. We have great partners on this project. The Federal Railroad Administration is a huge part of this project, huge part of the partnership. We're so pleased to have FRA's Deputy Administrator and current Acting Administrator, the Honorable Amit Bose, here today. Within the FRA, Amit has also served as Chief Counsel, Senior Advisor, and Director of Government Affairs. Mr. Bose, we appreciate your leadership and the assistance of your staff throughout the drafting phase of the follow-on documentations, memorandums that make the funding of the Howard Street Tunnel Expansion Project official. Please join me in welcoming Acting Administrator Amit Bose.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Maryland Department of Transportation, Maryland Port Administration, and CSX for inviting me to join you today. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you and others for this momentous groundbreaking, including Governor Hogan, Senator Cardin, Congressman Ruppersberger, Maryland Senate President Bill Ferguson, and others. On behalf of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I congratulate the Maryland Department of Transportation and CSX on the start of what will be a transformative project, a project that will improve people's lives, enhance productivity at the Port of Baltimore, grow regional economies, and create job opportunities for the local residents. Supported by the Department of Transportation Infrastructure for Rebuilding America program, this project is just one example of how we can rebuild and reimagine our rail networks, whether they be freight or passenger, to have fewer restrictions and greater resiliency. The Federal Railroad Administration played a pivotal role in this project, not only through the funding administration, but also the environmental review process. And we did it in a speedy manner. It's an example of the Department of Transportation and the state working together and how we can support economic growth. Not only build back our supply chains better as they recover from the pandemic, but also advance projects that make the movement of goods more resilient and apart from future disruptions. The Department of Transportation is proud to support this work, and we're gearing up to get going on even more projects. Thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law, I expect that restorations and expansions like the one we're celebrating today will be one of the many milestones to come. The law provides never-before-seen investments in American rail. Over the coming 5 years, it provides the Federal Railroad Administration with over $66 billion, including $36 billion also for authorized funding above that level. This funding will mean greatly expanding FRA and DOT's existing competitive discretionary grant programs, while also introducing new programs to meet the needs and wants of communities across the country. Of course, I'm reminded of what Secretary Buttigieg said just last week here in Baltimore. It's not about the numbers on a page. It's about the difference that it makes in everyday lives. I know the Howard Street Tunnel project will make a difference for the people of Baltimore and communities along the I-95 rail corridor and help make the supply chain for America's businesses and families more robust and resilient. This project will serve as an example of how we can build back better. And the Biden administration is committed to doing just that while growing the economy, creating good-paying jobs, enhancing our competitiveness, and addressing climate change. With the implementation of the bipartisan infrastructure law, FRA is laser-focused on advancing collaborative projects and strengthening partnerships like this one. And we're continually building capacity to ensure we can deliver on this administration's commitment and advance our mission in partnership with states, local governments, industry, and so many others who make groundbreakings like today possible. Thank you to all of you.
On the federal side, representing the congressional delegation, Senator Cardin, you have always had the Port of Baltimore's back ever since you were in the Maryland House of Delegates. The Port of Baltimore lives and dies by dredging. Senator Cardin's steadfast support for dredging You've embraced the value of dredge sediment for beneficial and innovative use, like coastal restoration and the rebuilding of Mid-Bay, the James and Barren Islands. We appreciate what you do. Whether it be Senator Cardin's longtime support for port security projects, federal grants for his unwavering support for the Howard Street Tunnel, the Port of Baltimore can always count on you, Senator Cardin. Please welcome Senator Ben Cardin.
Administrator Doyle, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. It's great to be here. Team Maryland, we got this done. I want to acknowledge my colleagues that are here, Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger and Congressman John Sarbanes, for their incredible help, and my colleagues in the state legislature. Bill Ferguson's already been acknowledged, the President of the Senate, and other colleagues that are here. This is Team Maryland. And Mr. Administrator, you're absolutely right. Our priority is the Port of Baltimore. Governor, we recognize what the Port of Baltimore means to our state and our region and our nation. Over 15,000 direct jobs. And yes, we are very much made a priority. The dredging of the port, it used to be controversial sites. We're now finding that we can have a win-win, as Jim Foote put it out, the environmentally friendly way to do it with Poplar Island. And now Mid-Bay, with the funds from Mid-Bay being committed in this budget year, thanks to our appropriators that are and our delegation. So we're very proud to be part of Team Maryland to make this a reality today. Governor Hogan, I want to just acknowledge your leadership in keeping us focused on getting this done. Some of us will remember some meetings that we had in D.C. I know Jim White's here, who at the time was the administrator of the port. Secretary Slater was there. And Mr. Foote, we met before you became the CEO. And there was a little bit of different attitude at that time. And then we survived 2 administrations of CSX and 2 administrations in Washington. We had only 1 administration in Annapolis, and we got it done. Because we stayed focused on getting this tunnel finished. Why? Because we recognize the future of this port, which has so many advantages because we're inland and we are at a great location, but we had a bottleneck here because we couldn't double stack. And we had to get that corrected. And that's why we made this a priority. So yes, our entire delegation met with Secretary Chow to impress upon her how important this project was to our region. And we had the support of the Trump administration. And then we met with Secretary Buttigieg to let him know that the Biden administration, how important this was. This has been bipartisan, it's been Team Maryland, and we've gotten it done. So I'm very proud to be part of the team today because this is our future. And we are well prepared. Governor, we've made the investments for the Supermax coming through the Panama Canal. We have the cranes, we have the berths, and now we have the rail service that will make this port the most competitive port in our region, to create jobs, to move commerce, to keep America first. Thank you very much.
Now, I'm very happy to introduce Maryland Department of Transportation Secretary Greg Slater. When I first interviewed for the job as MPA Executive Director, we talked about this project. It was the top of his list. It was the top of my list. I loved it. I've been hearing about this project for 20 years. Baltimore used to be laughed at by other ports. They'll never get the project done. It's never going to happen. They'll never double stack. We're double stacking. It's coming. Secretary Slater's got a lot on his plate every day, overseeing Maryland's roads, transit, bridges, tunnels, motor vehicles, airports, and the Port of Baltimore. I can always count on Secretary Slater understanding what the Port of Baltimore needs, and with him doing everything in his power to get what is needed for the port. He's a great leader, and it is a pleasure working with him. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Greg Slater.
Good afternoon. What a great day for the state and for the port and the whole region. We would not be here today if not for the support of our entire delegation, the governor, all of our partners here today. I know many have kind of introduced our congressional delegation here with us today, as well as our Senate President. I also want to introduce Mark and Bard from Ports America Chesapeake, who are a great partner with us. Jim White, who has put a lot of work into this before we got here, and it's great to have him here, and Scott Cowan, who represents our ILA. Just great partnerships all across the board. Even our Port Commission is here with us today. So I want to thank you all for being here. 25 years in the big infrastructure business, I can tell you that projects like this are not easy. There will be at least 4 or 5 times where your team will come to your door and say, we can't get this thing done, I can't overcome this, or we can't overcome that. You can either say okay, or you can sit down and figure it out. And with the governor's leadership, every single time. And we had those challenges. We sat down and we figured it out. And that's why we're here today. You've already heard about how transformational this project is going to be for the port, for our container business, and the jobs that it will generate. But it's also important for me to highlight our latest example of partnerships in working together to figure things out and moving the ball forward. Both CSX and Federal Railroad Administration have been critical in making this intermodal investment possible and successful. The Maryland Transit Administration, as you see the light rail go back and forth across here today, we share tracks with CSX for our MARC train, and without good cooperative and good working relationships, we can't deliver for our customers, and CSX can't deliver for theirs. It's the same for FRA. Projects like the Howard Street Tunnel expansion remind us of how successful partnerships can truly be transformational when we just are willing to come together and figure things out. And of course, the port, we have a great example of a public-private partnership through our leasing concession agreement with Ports America Chesapeake. It's a model for us. And that's what we've been doing, coming together, building partnerships, and being a model for everyone else. Everywhere outside of Maryland, we've leveraged good relationships and work on our public-private partners through efforts like our I-95 travel plazas. I see Lewis from Maryland Motor Truck here with us today. Great partnership. This is supply chain, this is big infrastructure, this is what everybody's talking about. With our recent passing of that infrastructure bill, there is no shortage of projects that we will be utilizing and stretching those funds throughout every dollar. It means that we have to focus, whether it's a person or a package, on that door-to-door experience. That's what this project does. Door-to-door, ships coming into the port, getting them processed and through, out on rail, out on truck, door-to-door. It's not just about bringing them in, it's about getting them to the people that need them. So I just want to echo the thanks of everyone in their partnership here, but I also want to take a minute and take a pause, because I see him in the back, and just publicly thank Brad Smith from the Maryland Port Administration. Jim, Brad was our guy. Brad personally walked this project through every step of the federal process, worked with the communities, met with the communities, and came through us every step of the way, even up until last week when we were getting the final signatures on the agreement. He was tracking me down and saying, are you going to be anywhere near the World Trade Center? I need a signature. And he would meet you where you were. He would be out there in the community. But I just want to publicly thank Brad, because he has worked tirelessly on this project. And lastly, I just want to express my excitement for what is still yet to come with this partnership. We're going to work on this. We're going to get this done. And we're going to deliver for the entire region. And we look forward to seeing that expanded tunnel for everyone to enjoy. Thank you.
We're going to do a little signing ceremony, but before we do that, I do want to echo a couple of points here. Number one, Jim White is here. Jim White is the former executive director for the Port of Baltimore, Maryland Port Administration. He did a fantastic job. He's the one who carried this thing through from the executive director standpoint to get this project going when it went off the rails. Jim, I really appreciate you being here. I also want to thank Brad Smith, who Secretary Slater just mentioned, and also Bob Monroe. Bob Monroe is the, for all intents and purposes, the general counsel of the MPA. He works for the Attorney General's office. But putting all the documents together, negotiating where we are right now to the point where the agreements that are going to be signed, ceremonial, they did the work on behalf of the Maryland Port Administration. And I also want to thank, thank you. I want to bunch them together because I want to thank Rob Gerardo. Rob, thank you very much. I know you worked with my team for years putting this together. And right up until last week when Brad was chasing down the secretary, trying to get the signatures, we were all working together trying to get those final documents done. And I appreciate the professionalism of CSX and the MPA and what you folks did. Thank you. I also want to thank Brian Hammett with CSX. Brian, thank you very much. We come to know each other over the past 1.5 to 2 years from CSX. You've been the point person for me, and you know, you are a true gem within the corporation of CSX, and I look forward to that continuing relationship. Ports America Chesapeake. We have the CEO, Mark Montgomery. He's here. We also have the Managing Director, Senior Vice President, Hogan's. They, too, are part of that public-private partnership. CSX, private corporation. Ports America Chesapeake, private corporation. They just invested $166 million in the infrastructure that we have at the port, private money, in coordination with the governor's agenda, the governor's and the legislature's funding for the Port of Baltimore. So thank you very much, Ports America Chesapeake. And then, of course, we get the ILA, otherwise known as International Longshoremen's Association, or, as we like to say, I Love America. We have Scott Cowan here with the ILA. What you folks did during COVID and how you took it seriously from the get-go. What you did with the mask wearing, the washing of machinery, the washing of the cleanliness of the spaces that we have at the port. You took it serious. You kept your days down to a minimum. You carried us through this. We can't do this without our labor partners. And the ILA, I thank you very much. Leader Bill Ferguson with the Senate. Thank you very much for attending. I know that there's been times where I've had to call you for certain things. And I really appreciate the support of not just the Senate, but the House. We can't do this without everyone working together. And I really do appreciate it, and thank you very much. With that, let's get on with the signing, the proclamation setting forth the groundbreaking of the Howard Street Tunnel expansion project. From there, we'll go over, and we're going to start shoveling dirt. Thank you.
Cover your faces. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, just watch your step as you step back. Governor Hogan.
Don't crowd too much. Give us some space. Stay back. Stay back. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Foot.
FRA, CSX on both sides.
Whoa. Cardin, Senator Cardin.
Great.
Mark Montgomery.
Yep, good.
We're gonna want 3 shots. Shovels in the sand we can put on the shovel.
Scott Cowan.
Scott?
Got it.
Scott Cowan.
Guys, get your shovel over here. Bill, get your shovel over here. What else we need to
I was
know?
gonna, we got somebody needs a shovel over here.
Yeah.
There
Boy,
we
you
go.
gotta get to work.
All right. Everybody, shovel in the sand. Put your foot on the shovel if you can. There you go. That's great. Everybody looking at the cameras, please. Thank you. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay. Next shot. Hold the sand up.
Go.
Again, looking at the cameras. Okay. On 1, we're gonna throw the sand. 3, 2, 1. Can we do it one more time, please?
With feeling.
Looking at the cameras. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay.